Hi guys, my name is Medintseva and you are on my crochet channel. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel and Etsy shop, be sure to subscribe. Here you will find many interesting and simple masterclasses on crocheting toys. This is the final part of crocheting such a ball in a diaper. Crochet with pleasure, like and write comments. Let's now sew the horns to the bull's head. The horns are sewn on above the eyes, in this position. The horns are sewn on with a regular needle and thread. I'll show you how the horns are sewn on the finished bull. We fix the thread in the head and begin to sew on the first horn. Sew it in a circle, just like we sewed the head. We insert the needle alternately into the head and then into the horn and sew it on. The principle is the same. We insert the needle into the head, then into the horn and sew it on in a circle. The operation is absolutely simple and uncomplicated. If you suddenly cannot sew the horn smoothly, then you can use a knitting needle. You insert the knitting needle into the horn and into the head, fix it in the desired position, and then sew it on. This method will make it easy to sew the horn to the head. I don't use a knitting needle as an additional fixation. I can sew smoothly anyway. I sew as best I can, and it always turns out smooth. The horn is completely sewn. An ear is sewn on the side under the horn. We adjust the horn and distribute the filler in the head as needed. The ear is sewn close to the side of the horn. Please note, the lower part of the ear is slightly sewn to form a tube. Sew the ear in this position as shown on the screen. I continue sewing with the same thread that was used to sew on the horn. Pull out the needle in the place where the ear should be sewn on. Now I insert the needle into the ear and pull the ear towards the head. We sew the ear in a circle in the same way as we sewed the horn. We sew it on all sides so that the ear holds securely and does not fall. This is how I managed to sew the first ear to the head. In exactly the same way, on the other side, first sew on the horn and then close to it sew the ear. We sew the second horn and ear on ourselves. I explained the principle, everything is simple. This is how I managed to sew the horns and ears to the bull's head. Now let's make a tightening on the muzzle. We tighten the muzzle with a regular needle and thread. Tighten the muzzle a little in the eye area. If you have one, then to tighten the muzzle it is better to take a longer needle. We pulled out a needle under the eye on the edge of the pink color, and here through the stitch we will move along the pink muzzle. And now we pull the needle and thread down, that is, to the lower part of the muzzle. Tighten the thread, and thus we make a tightening of the muzzle. Again, insert the needle through the stitch at the bottom and pull it out at the edge of the muzzle from above. We tighten the thread, tighten the muzzle and form the desired shape. Here we move down through the stitch again. Tighten the thread. We move up through the stitch again. We repeat the operation several times until you like the result. Once you see that the muzzle has acquired the desired shape, you can finish. Then crochet the mouth, attach it to the muzzle and everything will be beautiful. You can see that my bull's muzzle has already been tightened, and his appearance has changed. I want to say that there is no tightening here as such, we are just flattening the muzzle a little so that it looks like a real bull. I pulled the thread through the muzzle several more times, from bottom to top and from top to bottom. Each time tighten the thread to achieve the desired shape of the muzzle. The muzzle is tightened, everything is beautiful. Now let's make the mouth. Pink yarn. We make a loop and 4 chain stitches. From the second stitch from the hook we make 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, the second single crochet, and in the next stitch, the third single crochet. This is what it looks like. Make 1 chain stitch and turn. Now again we make 1 single crochet, the second single crochet, and the third single crochet. Here you can grab this outer loop with your hook. In general, we'll sew it on, it won't be visible anyway. I don't remember how many rows I made, I need to look at the finished bull. We make 1 more row. Again, we make 1 chain stitch and reverse the crochet direction. Make the first single crochet, in the next stitch the second single crochet, and the third single crochet. This is how the mouth turned out. Now let's read this end of the thread using slip stitches. You can also just make regular single crochets. Here is the first and second single crochet, and here is a slip stitch. This is the mouth I managed to make for the bull. This is me looking at the mouth and trying to understand whether this size is sufficient or not. I always forget how I do my mouth and have to remember every time. Every time I crochet the mouth, as it turns out. I personally don't even have a clear pattern for crocheting a mouth. I didn't even write down the pattern. In general, I think that what we have already done is enough. So we cut the thread, pull and tighten the thread, tie the ends of the thread into a knot. The knot is tight. The end of the thread can be left uncut and then hidden inside. You can also cut them. I cut the ends of the thread. We sew the ends of the thread with a regular needle and thread so that they don't fall apart, dangle or get in the way. Probably the way I sewed the ends of the thread was not included in the shot. The mouth for the bull is ready. In this position we sew the mouth to the muzzle. Sew on the bottom and sides. Once again, I show you the position in which the mouth is sewn. We sew it on as we usually do. We just leave the upper part of the mouth unsewn, so that the bull looks like he has his mouth slightly open. We always check whether the mouth is sewn smoothly or not. If you like everything, then we continue. This is how the mouth turned out. Here we still need to sew on the bottom side. The principle is the same, so we finish on our own. I need to take the toy closer to sew the mouth more carefully and securely. The mouth must be held securely. I'll finish doing this now, and then we'll do the hair on the bull's head. By the way, we can also make nostrils like this if you want. You don't have to do the nostrils. We take the pink yarn we used to crochet the muzzle, tie a knot at the end of the thread. We use a needle with a blunt end. We insert a needle from the underside of the muzzle and pull it out in the place where the first nostril should be made. Now I embroider the nostrils with one thread. Once I did it with two threads. It doesn't really matter. We are just embroidering the nostrils. I make 2 stitches in each nostril. When the first nostril is made, we thread the needle and thread to the second nostril. This is how I get the nostril. The usual 2 stitches. This is what a bull with one nostril looks like. We embroider the second nostril in the same way. We also make 2 stitches. If necessary, adjust the thread. We check that the nostrils are embroidered evenly and symmetrically. I pull the thread in the middle at the top of the muzzle because I want to tighten the muzzle a little more. The previous tightening made seams to me insufficient. Here, from below, I pull out the needle in my mouth, tighten the thread. I insert a needle through one stitch and pull it out again from above. I want to tighten up my muzzle a little more. I don't have any specific recommendations here. Everyone does it to your own taste. Everyone does as you please. So I want to tighten the muzzle a little more. I decided to tighten the muzzle again. Of course, I couldn't show it on camera. This is the muzzle I like best. For the hair on the bull's head, I use this type of thread. For hair, I use Alize Soft Plus yarn. In this bull, I will have white hair. We prepare a lot of these threads. Tie each thread to the head. We make several side rows with tied threads. The first thread is attached. You should get hair like this. There will be a beautiful, beautiful bull. The tail for this bull can either be crocheted or, as I already did, you can prepare several longer threads and braid them. Prepare the threads 10 cm or 4 inches. Attach them at the back and then braid them. We attach the threads to the head ourselves. I will do this too and show you the final version. This is the bull that ended up looking like this. Now I'll show you how to make tightenings on the bull's legs. Legs tightening is very easy to do. Usual needle and thread. We insert the needle from the bottom of the leg in the middle and pull it out from the top, also in the middle. My son woke up, tighten the thread, Now we insert the needle again from below, that is, the thread remains on top along the outside of the leg. This is how we tighten the thread and get the first half. We repeat the same operation to make a tightening to form the middle half. We lay a thread along the outside of the leg, forming the second half. If necessary, adapt the thread with a needle and place it in the right place. We finish making tightening on the legs and arms in the same way. This is such a beautiful ball. Thanks to the tightenings on the arms and legs, the result was a ball with real hoofs. As an additional accessory, my ball has a pacifier on a string. The thread with the pacifier is tied in a bow at the back. The pacifier fits perfectly into the mouth. It turned out to be a real child, a little baby bull. Now I'll show you how to make a tail for a bull from the same threads that we used to make hairs on the head, Alize Softy Plus. Cut 3 pieces of thread 25 cm long, about 10 inches. We take 3 threads together, take them in the middle and use a hook to insert them into place of the tail. I insert the hook into the third row from the top edge of the diaper in the middle. We grab our 3 threads prepared for the tail and make a kind of loop. The principle is the same as in hair. We pull all 6 ends of the threads into the loop we have made. Now we tighten the threads and the loop is tightened. We divide our 6 threads into 3 to tie a bull tail. And tie a regular braid. We alternately place the side threads on the central thread and thus braid the braid. Let's finish braiding the bull tail and our bull will be completely ready. I think the length of the tail is enough. Now we tie a knot at the end of the braid. The knot should be tied almost at the end of the tail. You can see that I have made the tail, the knot is tied, so we cut off the excess ends of the thread. Cut the ends of the thread so that small ends remain, which will form a pigtail at the end of the tail. Now I like everything. This is the tail our baby bull got. I'll show you a closer look at the bulls that I got. I hope that everything worked out for you too, and that you are holding in your hands the same wonderful baby bull in a diaper. If you liked the masterclass, be sure to like, write comments and subscribe to the channel. Also on the Etsy you can attach a photo of your toy to your review or private comment. I'll be looking forward to see your toys. See you soon!